simple, routine ways you connect with your kids matter more than you might think. My next guest has strategies to make the most of those moments and help you create more intentional child chatter. Family researcher and BYU instructor Heather Johnson is joining me. It's so great to see you. You know why I think I love this topic so much, and I know we're going to dive into the details here, but even as just the mom of one 18-month-old, I'm learning every day that parenting's in the little moments, isn't it? It's in those really undiscovered, unhighlighted situations.
Absolutely, very much in the little moments. And we have to realize, you know, we think that we're going to create these connections with our kids during a vacation or something monumental that we've planned. But our lives, as hard as it is to say, are very mundane. We do the same things every day with them. And so if we can't find ways to make the everyday mundane meaningful, we're going to lose those opportunities. And there's a couple things that hurt us right off the bat. You know, we say as mothers that we want a very intentional relationship with our kids, and we do. It's truly my deepest desire also. But then we set our families up and our lives up in ways that sabotage any ability to do that right off the bat, right? The other thing that starts to hurt us is we don't recognize what truly creates the meaningful relationship. Meaningful relationships with our children are going to come when our children feel truly understood by us. Once they feel understood, they trust. And anytime we've built trust with our children, we've created that intentional, emotional connection.
Can we go back to the structure for a minute? So when you say we're not structuring our lives and our homes and our families, in what? The lessons, the activities, or just the daily interactions?
Not just the interactions, but even the fact that we're so overprogrammed. So there's a couple ways we can look at this. The first thing we need to do is we need to be much more focused on being present and not perfect.
And we hear that word so much, be present.
Be present, and we hear it all the time, but for example, let's take a birthday party, and let's take a deep focus on perfectionism. I love to call it Pinterest perfect because it's what we are influenced by all the time, social media. When we're so focused on having a party that's perfect, we don't have any energy or effort left to see what it is our kids might really need and connect with them. Our kids don't remember what the decorations look like in 15 years. They don't remember what the theme even was. You know what they remember? They remember that the night before, they got to help with party favors, and you had a really powerful conversation where you talked about a stress they were having at school. That's what they remember. So when we're focused on the perfection, we miss out on opportunities to be perfect. Now from there, we have to then focus really strongly on having a life that's fulfilling instead of just a full life.
What do you mean by that?
We've got to downsize in everything that we do. We've got too many activities and too many plans and too much stuff. And so yes, our lives are so full, but there's no fulfillment behind them. It's not meaningful to us. When our kids are always off doing other things, it creates an opportunity or a lack of opportunity for us to connect with them simply because we're not even in the same place, right? And so all the exercises and the experiences and the instruments and the classes, they're great in moderation, but if we truly want what we say we want, which is more connection with them, we got to get those little things around us. We have to be spending time and energy together.
So how would you respond to the question, is it quality or quantity? Because a lot of good parenting is quantified, 20 minutes of reading, right? Or one-on-one time, but then you're saying the quality also matters. So is it a mix of both?
It is a mix of both. I could spend, in fact I do, our 3 youngest kids, I literally spend all day with them, all day. But if all day is so full because I'm so busy with a million other things and different agendas and we're racing from place to place, and I don't ever get down on the ground to spend quality energy and effort with them, then it doesn't matter how full the day is because there hasn't been any fulfillment.
Or any attachment, which is your next parenting buzzword. Make sure to find those attaching moments.
Those attaching moments. Now there's a great theory behind this. Attachment theory teaches us that constantly during the day in our relationships, we reach out even hundreds of times to attach to the people around us that we love. Now kids do this all the time. In a sense, they ping us. They throw something out, they address us, they ask us something to see if we see them. The question is, hey, do you see me, Mom? And do you know I'm here?
So the question may be, where's my Legos? But really it's Mom, I need you.
It's exactly right. So for example, our daughter just this week, she brought a picture she'd colored into me. And she brought it in and she said, hey Mom, look what I did. Well, she doesn't care about the picture.
Right.
She really wants to know if I see her. Do I know she's there, right? Our daughter did it last night amongst the chaos of our house at night. I was the only adult home. My husband wasn't there. She sat down next to me, practically on my lap. She's 8, and put her hand on my knee and just said, hey. Well, my response, to be honest, I wanted to say, hey, and go right back to our son's calculus because I knew the hours I had ahead of me.
Right.
But she was simply just saying, do you see me? Do you know I'm here? we get so busy, we miss those attachment opportunities, and we can't. We've got to be very conscious that this is always happening, these needs for attachment.
And once we're conscious of those attaching moments, you say to get on their level, be at their eyesight and in their mind frame.
Right, we want to meet them right where they're at. The way we're going to do that is if you have a son who loves a video game, you better learn to play that video game and play right next to him. Our 12-year-old daughter right now is huge into the show House Hunters.
Oh.
She loves it.
Oh.
And she watches and then she draws her own house plans and matches the drapes to the carpet. Now, to be honest, that is not something I think I have time for in my life. But if my goal is to connect with her, I made time. And so now I draw house plans too, and I know where to find and how to match the drapes to the carpet and the furniture and what the furniture legs are called, because that's where she's at. So I've got to go where she is. And it's the same with their location physically. Oftentimes during the day our kids aren't with us, but I know when our kids eat lunch, and so our son gets a text message every single day at 12:15, every day. I meet him where he's at. Our kids get notes in their lunches. I write on our daughter's banana every day, on her banana peel. She loves it. I know she's going to see it. So we've got to go to them and be right where they're at.
Which is a great point, because I think especially, and I'm not there yet, but I see girlfriends who, as their kids start to enter the preteen and teenage years, they're sitting back and waiting for those kids to come to them, when really it's breaking the barrier of the video games, right? Or of the social activities, and meeting them there.
Absolutely. And remember, attachment and these connections that we want, all of these things will facilitate more conversation when understanding leads to trust. But this happens when we attach first. So sitting back to say, once you show me love, once you come to me and start a conversation, then by all means, I'm ready and waiting. It's our job as parents to create the attachment first. We've got to go that way. Once we built the trust, our kids will just gush. They will just start to open up.
And let's clarify, this isn't about a guilt trip, but let's go here. Whatever pockets of time you have in your day to play the video games or watch House Hunters, at the end of the day, Heather, how can we make the most of those pockets of time, no matter the length or the duration?
Simply add meaning to what already exists. Don't sit back and think, I've got to create more. There has to be a vacation or a special date night or a special situation. Look at what you already have. We are around a breakfast table together every morning. We're around a dinner table every night. I put our children to bed every night, right? Those are opportunities. We drive in the car a lot. We get kids to things, whether it's school or activities. Use those times and add meaning. Once we add meaning, we then create that understanding, that connection, which leads to more trust. So don't look for other things. Simply sit down today and look at your day and say, when do I cross paths with these kids? And whenever you do, find a way to add meaning to it. Even little things like when you drop your kids off at school, exchange a special handshake. Meaning, right? Your kids aren't going to remember what the weather was like or even their third grade teacher's name probably, but they will remember that every day they exchanged a secret handshake with their mom before they jumped out of the car.
I learned this lesson actually first in the role of big sister, which is where a lot of my practical parenting experience came, getting married later in life and entering the ranks of motherhood a little bit later. But I remember with my little sister Sadie, she probably was 10, and I arranged this big spend over at my house, right? We did Build-A-Bear, we dropped the money, we did the, the bowling and all of it. It was awesome. 2 weeks later, I found myself on assignment in my hometown, and so I dropped by and picked her up for lunch, zipped through the McDonald's drive-thru, shoving fries in her face on the way back to the school to drop her off on time, and she looked at me with fries coming out of her mouth and said, "This was the best day of my life." And I said, "About the $100 I spent at Build-A-Bear last week,
Exactly
but it was just that little McDonald's moment that to her in her little mind meant the most. That stood out to me.
It's exactly right. And those are the moments that will make a difference, right? If we want more connection with them, we simply need to take what's going on and find a way to let them feel understood. Whether it's fries in their mouth, whether it's a bad day at school, so that when there are those opportunities and they reach out and say, "Are you there? Do you see me, Mom?" The answer is always, "I sure do.
Love
I
this.
see you."
Heather, thank you so much. Always so inspiring. We appreciate it.